What's up, guys? We have another special episode in our series that we're doing here, which is just how do you survive winter? It comes every year. It seems to surprise us. You've heard us say it on other episodes, but today we have a great friend on named Daniel Dixon, and he's going over several ideas, but two really important ones that he details specifically. And again, just like other episodes we've had, great actionable steps. I like to say that a marker of a good, whether it's podcast episode of listening to something is, would I have written something down in this podcast? And I got full pages here. You can't see it, but I was writing the whole time. So I think get a notebook out. You're going to really enjoy it. And without further ado, you got something?
Yeah. Inside the show today, he's going to actually share how he took January, which is the lowest
in the whole 50K.
In the whole 50K to now it's completely booked with work. He has no room for any more work to be done, and he shares the strategy on the show. And without any further ado, here's our friend, Daniel Dixon. Daniel, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, it's good to see you guys. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. We're in the midst of a winter wonderland type series, and really the birth of it was us thinking very selfishly.
Can we talk to you that can tell us how to survive?
I'm tired of being in BLOC every February, March, April, and May because of the winter months. And so we basically selfishly created a series where we can invite experts on business and helping us how to think in ways that we don't think. And we're just super excited to hear what you have to say and then offer that value to anybody that's listening today. So let's just jump right into the meat. Let's pretend for a minute that we're inside of a game called business and we're losing. Business is gone. And we're literally thinking like, dude, we don't know what we're doing. We shouldn't be in business. We should probably try to sell it if anybody would be willing to buy this sunken ship.
Every business owner's had that thought for sure.
Every December,
that's it. So, Daniel, would you do me a favor and share with us and those that are listening, just top of mind, what would you do if you were in the middle of your winter in order to maximize the profitability or to turn the ships around?
Yeah, and I'm going to speak from a place of experience here. I want to make sure forward that everyone listening knows that I own a service business. I own a concrete coatings business. The winter is really slow for us. People don't want to move stuff out of their garage. They're spending money on Christmas. And this is really a very nice thing to have. It's by no means required, like a heating and air conditioning company. So with that being said, there's two different things I really found impactful when changing my winter from a losing season to a winning season. And the first thing is marketing to your customer list, right? So you have this customer list that when you go to sell your business or any service business, if they've ever sold, the biggest thing that they're valuing your business on is your customer list. It's not your equipment. It's not how smart you are. It's not your employees. Like all those things can be bought or can leave or can be, relatively commoditized. But what they can't get is your customer list. And so there's a reason they pay for that because it's valuable. And as business owners that built our businesses, we started with zero customers, right? So the muscle that is strongest in our body, in our mind, is how do I go get a new customer? Because that's where we had to start. And we practiced it a lot of times to get where we are in our business. And so when things get hard, the first thing we think is like, how do I use that strong muscle that I have, which is going to get new customers? But what you don't realize is you've assimilated this incredibly valuable asset, which is your customer list that you need to market to, because those people already know, like, and trust you. You already know they can afford your service. So we really need to be marketing to those people.
Well, I mean, let's talk. When I hear you say marketing to your customer list, there's two questions. I'm thinking of it from a position of like, if I'm listening to this podcast and I don't have a customer list, what is a customer list? How do you get one? What do I need to have to make sure that this year, by the end of next year, I have a customer list? So walk me through that if you don't mind.
Yeah, quite simply, a customer list is just all the list of people that have done business with you before. And if that's not something that you have today, I strongly recommend you get a CRM. There are a lot of different CRM systems out there. When I say CRM, I'm standing for Customer Relationship Management Tool. And if you think like, oh, I don't like technology or it's expensive, I'm just a small business. There are ones that I think start probably at like the $40 a month range or $50 a month. And then they go up, right, to thousands of dollars a month. You don't need anything super, robust or crazy. We just want to make sure we're capturing the name and the phone number and the emails for these people that you're doing business with, so that, one, you can market to them, but two, if you ever go to sell your business, that you have this asset that people are looking for.
Let me ask you a question. I like context a lot. I like to understand character development. When did you start the epoxy company?
We started the epoxy company in 2020.
In 2020. So how many seasons did it take before you went, okay, this is not working in the winter. We got to figure something out. What did it feel like? The first one you went through was like, oh, crap. What was the feeling? Take me there to that feeling and help me understand how, because you've got some great ideas and great things we're going to talk about. I want to know the journey that got you there.
Yeah. So the first winter of the epoxy floor coating company was super stressful, right? Because it wasn't just myself anymore. We had hired our first set of employees. And so we had just gotten them trained. We felt like we had just kind of figured out what was going on, and finding people was difficult, and teaching them how to do what we wanted them to do was difficult. And so we thought the worst thing that can happen to our business is we lose these employees and or put their families in jeopardy with income, right? And so we were just struggling because we're like, we want to pay these people, but we don't have hours for them. Do we pay them a set amount even though they're not working? What do we do to keep them busy? Can we find jobs? And it was just like this, every single week was like this anxiety of like, what am I going to do this week? Right. And it was just all the way through the winter. It was a really stressful season. And then I think season 2 was pretty similar, except for we were a little bit better off just because we had made a little bit more money during the year and saved it up, knowing the winter was coming, but we weren't any more, really prepared or hadn't thought any more good ideas of what to do. And then it was really season 3 that we implemented some new ideas, which marketing to the customer list was one. The other one we haven't talked about yet. And then we really perfected that in season 4.
Wow. Okay. And how do you communicate to your team members? Well, this is kind of a twofold question. What do you guys offer your team members during the winter? And then how do you prepare them for that too?
Yeah, it's a great question. We hire everybody. We tell them, hey, it's a variable pay job. We're going to work really hard in these months and you're going to make a bunch of money. And we're going to make sure we, prepare for the winter because it's going to slow down, and it's great because you're going to spend more time with the family and you're going to get time off, but the income is going to slow. So we kind of prepare them in that way, and just communicate to them that, hey, we're going to be there for you and take care of you. And those first couple of winters, we guaranteed them some hours, even if we didn't have work. We were fortunate enough to be able to charge enough during the regular, busy season, I can say. And that gets into a whole nother topic, which we should talk about some other time, guys, which is you got to make sure you're charging enough to be able to survive the winter. But
yeah, that's so true.
That's how we try to prepare them.
Hey, you mentioned that there were multiple different CRMs, and prior to a CRM, do you remember what you were doing to keep up with people's names, phone numbers, emails, and addresses?
Yeah, Microsoft Excel.
I used the old fashioned, on my arm, a napkin, a cup, anything you could find. This was 2016. And by 2017, the very beginning, I started my first CRM, and we're still with them today. Just for those that are listening, what CRM do you use?
I currently use Jobber.
Use Jobber. Awesome. And then we use House Call Pro. They're both very similar, but they're also going to have different abilities and things like that as well. And more bells and whistles probably with Jobber. So let's get into the marketing to your customer list. Do you have any ideas or practical ways? Let's say I'm able to go to my CRM. I'm able to pull off, what reports should I pull? What should I do after that?
Yeah, there's a couple different things you can do, right? The first thing is just looking at your phone number. That's the simplest thing. If you don't have anything else, just call these people, text messaging them. But I guess before you even contact them, think about services that you might offer today, or you might be able to start offering that people would benefit from in the winter, right? So if you're lawn care, I know it's pressure washing, but if you're lawn care, right, we should be talking about winterization. Or if you're pressure washing, I'm not super familiar with all the services you guys can offer in the winter, but maybe there's something that you can offer in the winter. And even if there is not something you can offer in the winter, can you have a deal where they potentially prepay with a discount for a future date? Or when if you get a nice day in the winter, maybe you could say, hey, we'll give you 10% off if you pay on your, window cleaning. I know you normally do it in the spring, but if we have some nice weather, I'll put you on a list and we'll fit you in, before Christmas. You got family coming into town. Can we get you on a list? And if you pay now, we'll just swing by the next day that it's nice and we'll get it all done. So things like that. So I'd start with a phone call, a text message. You can also email that offer if you have a service where you can show that picture. Pictures do a lot, right? Because people are like, oh yeah, my driveway looks like that, or my porch looks like that. I'd really like to have that clean before people come in for the holidays. So you can maybe even focus it on like, got family coming for the holidays. Let's, get your house nice and pretty type of thing. So those are the things that you can start with. And then as you get more sophisticated, you can even connect your CRM to systems like SJIM, which I'll shamelessly plug here, to send mail to your list. That could be postcards, it could be letters, it could be holiday cards, but all of those types of things, just staying in front of your customer through the slow season. You have to understand that it's not that these people don't want to buy your service. They're just really busy with life, right? You got people coming in for Thanksgiving, and then they're worried about buying Christmas gifts for everyone. And then maybe they're traveling for Christmas, or they've got people coming for Christmas. And so although they need your service, they're not proactively thinking about, hey, I need to go do that. And so we have to make it really easy for them to say yes, right? So send them a message that says, I can do this, just reply yes, or I can do this, right? But make it so easy for them that they're like, yeah, I need that. And then that's it, right? So it's just so easy for them to buy from you. It's not that they don't have the money for the most part. It's not that they don't want to buy from you. It's not that they're too busy to call you. They're just not thinking about it, and it's not top of mind because there's so many other things in their mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you have those lulls even in the summer when vacations, heatest summer's hitting August, kids are going back to school. Revenue's a little higher because the general market is just higher, but 100% people are thinking about themselves, their families, Christmas money. You got sometimes like this year, an election year, you've got a new year transition. People's heads are just not there.
Yeah.
They're just not there.
Yeah.
That's a great
For example,
point.
For me, right? Like if I occasionally will get a house cleaner, I'm fortunate to be able to do that. But like if she messaged me today and said, hey, can I come and, get an extra cleaning in before Christmas? I'd say yes. But have I thought about, hey, it would be nice to go do that? No. And have I proactively like messaged her? No. But if she messaged me and said, hey, I'm going to be in the area, can I come do that? I'd be like, heck yeah, that would be awesome. My wife would love me. Right. Like it's that's a perfect example.
Awareness to the customer. You're absolutely right. That's so good.
Yeah. So you briefly mentioned a shameless plug, but I think it's a plug worth letting everyone know about. Can you tell me more about what SJIM does as it relates to getting marketing to your customer list? Help me understand, like if I'm a strategic business owner, I'm wanting to increase my sales, my leads. What does SJIM do that it's the no-brainer thing that I should be doing?
Yeah. So for us, I think it's the marketing to your customer list. It can do things like for example, when we get into every quarter, we'll follow up with quotes that didn't close, and we'll just load that. If you have a CRM that connects to us, this is a lot easier. But if you don't, you can load up a list of phone numbers, and I can record a message, and it says something like this every quarter. Hey, this is Daniel with My Garage Floor Guys. I just want to reach out because I see that we still have an open quote with you. If you're still interested in doing that work, we're actually running a special right now. If you're curious about what that is, or you're still interested, just shoot me a text back. Sorry I missed you, but hope to connect with you soon. Right. And so we close, 3 to 4 jobs like that every quarter just by following up with people that got busy. They're still interested, but and then the thought of a special, they're like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to do that, but if I can get an extra $100 off, let's do it now. And so that would be a really easy way. And we can record that message and we can send it to all of those phone numbers, and it just leaves a voicemail on their phone and it shows up as a missed call, and they think that you followed up with them. So helping you with follow up on old quotes, that's a perfect example.
So good.
Yeah. And then do you guys still do everyday direct mail?
Yeah. Yep. We do that. So if you're looking for new leads, you can go in, and in our tool, you can choose mail route, which basically shows all the homes that a mail carrier will deliver to. And you can say, I want to mail to all the homes on that route. And, essentially click a button and we'll send postcards to all the people on that mail route for you. We do things like that. I'd also recommend automating the mailing to the neighbors of your customers. Hey, we just did your neighbor's windows, interested in this special offer, give us a call. So if you did my windows, there's a really good chance that my neighbors have the similar income, similar size home, similar number of windows. So it's really a smart way to use postcard marketing, because you don't have to spend a ton of money sending a ton of them. Let's just, send to the 3, 4, 5 closest neighbors, knowing that those houses are ideal, demographic or market.
Yeah, that's so good. And why would one want to be working on this during the winter rather than the spring?
Yeah, because in the spring, you want to be out there getting the money, right? Like got to use your downtime wisely. So that's a really good point. We need to be investing in our business and building these systems when we have time, because when the money is out there to be made, the last thing you want to be doing is taking time away from that and be working in the office or setting up these systems in your business.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer. So you mentioned you had 2 tips for what people should do during the winter. The first one is going to be marketing to your current customer list, as simple as making phone calls, following up with customers that didn't go green, and maybe seeing if you could turn it for a discount, and then doing everyday direct mail, or doing voice bombs where you follow up with different customers each quarter or even at the end of the year for those that didn't come. What was the second tip that you wanted to share with our listeners?
Yeah, the second tip really can start early in the year, but it's all in preparation for the winter. So the second tip is really pre-selling your winter time, right? And so what we do is this is what radically changed our business in the winter. And we weren't great at it the first time because we started a little late and we didn't really know how to pitch it. But we went from losing $50,000, like literally in the hole, $50,000 in January, to making a profit in January by just doing this one thing. And when you pre-sell, for example, January, that's our slowest month. So I'll just say January, but you can do it in any month, right? That it's slow for you. Is we know that coming into the 3rd and 4th year that January is going to be slow. We just know that. And anytime throughout the year that somebody's really hesitant on price, we will say, hey, if price is an issue, we totally understand. We don't give discounts, for most of the year, but in January, I want to let you in on a little secret here. That's our really slow time. And we actually offer this discount only in that month. And if you want to book right now, I can actually apply that discount to your job, and we'll pick a date. You can choose any date you want in January, and we'll get you on the books right now. You'll save your spot, because January, actually, when we start advertising this discount, is going to fill up really fast. And we only have so many slots in January. So does that sound like something you'd be interested in? oh yeah, that sounds great, because they really want your service, right? That's why they're there. That's why you're there. They want you to come give a quote. They want to buy from you. But if they just need that extra little nudge, and throughout the year, let's say we have 60 slots in January, throughout the year, we will find 50 to 60 people that want that. Right. So then when I get to right now, December 12th, my sales guy just told me on Monday, hey, we're full for January. That is like, I mean, it gives me the chills right now just saying it out loud, because every year up until this point, it was like going into the week of Christmas, which we know no one's buying that in the week of Christmas. And then all of a sudden it's January 6th, right? And it's like, hey, we're booked out 3 days. Like, what are we going to do to fill the next, 40 slots? And it's just like so stressful. So that is a huge like secret and unlocking potential for the rest of the year, because what happens is, at least in my business, we only have so many slots in the busy season. And so we're going to fill those, right? So if I can erase a really big loss in my slow month or slow couple months, then that makes my company so much more profitable through the rest of the year, because I can't fit those people in anyways. And so I'm just utilizing this extra space in my schedule that I can't ever fill. And these are people that are probably never going to buy with me at full price. So let's make them useful, and let's have a win-win. They're going to get a win. We're going to get a win. And everybody's happy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm slow. Okay. And I mean that. How should I think, or help me understand how the salesman thinks in order to fill up January during the year? So just really, it's a mind shift thought. Just teach me how to think throughout the year to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll actually start it probably around June timeframe. And it's when we get really busy. And what we'll say, like the salesman, we got to teach them to pick up on cues, right? So if someone is just on the fence, we're not going to bring this up right away, because we want to close people at full price. So we'll follow up with them if they don't close. And then what we'll do is we'll catch them at the end of the quarter, and we'll send that voicemail. Hey, I know I'm just following up because we have an open quote. I know price was an issue. I do want to just let you know on this little secret in January, right? Blah, blah, blah. And you give them the spiel on the voicemail. And then we'll sell 3 or 4 like that for January every quarter. If they're at the quote and the person is saying right off the bat, like, oh, that's way more than I thought, I definitely can't do that right now. That's when we're starting to think, okay, this person's probably not going to buy from us. Let's see if we can make a deal in January type of thing. And that's okay, because we're going to fill let's say it's June, we're going to fill June anyways. Like we'll end up turning away a little bit of work in the really busy months. So it's okay if we don't sell them at full price. Let's push them to January. And that adds just as much value to my business as selling them at a more expensive price.
Right.
So that's the mindset. And then again, we'll hit them with those voicemails throughout the year. And then as we get into the slower season, so for us, it's around Thanksgiving. Anybody that is, shying away, like, well, I don't want to do that. What we'll do is we'll say, hey, we'll give you this discount. Like if there's still time left, in December's a little slow for us too. If we have any open spots, again, we'll say, hey, this price I can give you this discounted price, but it's only good through the end of the year. And then you show them what the price will be if they wait, past that. So it's really using scarcity as a tool in your sales process, and having your salesperson understand how to use that. And when I say scarcity, it's just, these spots fill up fast. I want to help you out. I like you. I want to do business with you if you can help me out. Right. And so we're telling them, you're going to get a discount if you can be flexible on the time. But if you want to book right here, right now on my busy season, like you're going to pay the premium.
That's so good. Daddy Likey?
Thoughts running around in my head. Yeah. We do a little bit of that, like with commercial work, and our average like our business is being slightly different. Our average tickets are a little bit different, but the principle's the same of like, even if even if you're selling at 20% less than the price that you give them right there, it's still better than borrowing money to get through it anyways, if it just keeps you neutral, because there's so much of that cycle that stays on your back for the rest of the busy months that you're trying to pay back. And in addition to that, for anybody who's listening that's ever done Christmas lights, you know that in November and like really the whole month of November and then a few like the first week of December, you want those people paying a ridiculous premium price. Why not apply the same mindset to the April and May and June months to whatever, pressure washing, epoxy floors? The people are paying for the discount in January when you fill a slot up with a fully priced, right priced service. So it's man, that's so smart.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? Because that goes into pricing, which is so important in your business, but you need to be charging the right price and the right premium for the premium time of the year. That way you can actually have space to apply a discount in the slower seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Daniel, do you feel comfortable sharing what you try to, if you waved a magic wand, your profit ability from every job would be what percent?
Oh, that's a good question. So we approach it a little different because our jobs take one day. And so for us, we want to hit a certain margin per crew per day. And that percentage can be a little different depending on the size of the job. But I would say we're targeting like the 30 to 40% margin per job.
And then when you're giving your deepest discount, how much are you willing to take off that? Like, what's your lowest?
Yeah, so it probably would be like in the high 20s. But from a dollar standpoint, right? These aren't my numbers, but I'll use round numbers. Like, let's say I want to hit in the busy season, my salesperson is not allowed to sell a job that makes less than $1,200 in profit in the day. So if that job's taking the day, they got to make $1,200 in profit in that day. Whereas when we get into the slow season, we'll waive that, right? And we'll say you can go up to like 950 in profit in the day as long as we're filling the schedule.
Right. Yeah, it's a math game. All you got to do is calculate what your business needs in those two different seasons.
Yeah. And right, that 950, even though we're not making as much, that 950 is better than if we don't work.
Correct.
We're actually losing money as a business because we've got all these costs that we still have in the slow season.
Right. Breaking even doesn't always mean breaking even when you're staying out of debt.
Right.
Or potentially not losing your business.
Right.
Is this put inside your pro forma? Just the profitability portion, or how you think about it? $1,200 during the busy seasons, $950 during, and then maybe whatever 20% would be during your cold seasons. Is that projected at all inside of the pro forma, or is that a bad question?
No, that isn't. The nice part about a CRM like Jobber has, maybe House Call Pro has this too, but we can put the job cost inside. Like we can put a cost for, we can build our cost profile inside Jobber. So what I mean by that is like when I'm coding a garage floor, I could say repairs cost me this much per linear foot, and we're going to charge this much per linear foot. And then the floor coating costs this much per linear foot for the product and the labor. And then I'm going to charge this much. So it allows me to see as we build that quote, what the profit per job is. And for us, it's really about, hey, we know we need to make this much profit per month just to cover our fixed expenses. So when I say fixed expenses, those are expenses that you have regardless if your business is doing any work, right? So a fixed expense would be your insurance, your truck payment if you have a truck payment, a lease on your shop or your house, right? Whatever your salary, just because you got to eat every month. So whatever those expenses are. And I think when I started my business, right, it was like, hey, our fixed expenses were $14,000 a month. So I started thinking, well, if I want to make $15,000 a month like for us to like make a reasonable living, then I need to make $30,000 a month in margin. And so for my first 14 days, my first 14 jobs, that was just to cover the cost. And then every bit of margin after that, the next 15 days, basically the first half of the month was covering our cost. The second half of the month was actually making profit so that we could live on. And so that's how we kind of got to that. And we really backed into it. Like, I wasn't that smart to start. We just charged what everyone else was charging, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm starting to go backwards and say, like, our profit per job is this, and our costs are this, and this is why the model works. And so then you get a little bit wiser as you have the data to look at.
Daniel, if someone wants to get in touch with you and learn more about SJIM or how they can utilize some of your tools, where can they go? How can they find out more?
Yeah, just go to sendjim.com. It's send like you're sending a postcard, and then the name Jim, Jim, sendjim.com. Open a chat with us. We've got a big team now, or at least big for me. And all the people on my team are incredibly talented and smart with this stuff, especially marketing. And they would be more than happy to chat with you, to show you our product, and just answer business questions in general.
Awesome. And before you go, who is Jim?
Oh man, do you guys have like 3 minutes for a story?
Yeah, I can do it
for it.
Okay, so Josh Latimer, who started SJIM with a guy named Chris Phillips, they're the co-founders. They had a really successful window cleaning business in Michigan. And as it grew, they really built their company by marketing to their customer list. And they had all these spreadsheets and papers written down of like, when did I do this job last time? And when it's 6 months from that date, we're going to send them a reminder letter. And then we're going to send thank yous after we complete the jobs. And if they've been with us, a customer, for 5 different, services, then we're going to send them a box of cookies. And they had this like genius idea. But what they realized is that after their business got pretty big, they had 2 full-time like admins working on this, and stuff would still get screwed up. They'd send people to the wrong thing. This person be like, hey, why'd you send this? A reminder thing I just scheduled with you. And so it was this big old mess, and people wouldn't show up, to do the work, and they'd mess up. And they started joking, like, wouldn't it be awesome if there was this employee named Jim? And it was all just like, he did all of this right and didn't get it wrong. And he didn't show up hungover, and he worked on holidays and doesn't make mistakes. And so they just started joking, like everything in their business that their employees would mess up, they'd be like, oh, just have Jim do it. Just send Jim to go do that. And Jim became this like fictitious unicorn employee. And if you find all the old school SJIM logos, you'll actually see a unicorn. And that's the story behind Jim and awesome. How it got its name.
Awesome. Well, if you're listening to this and you're interested in sending a unicorn to all your customers, feel free to reach out to Daniel at SJIM. Daniel, you've been a blessing to us and to our listeners today. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. It was awesome. I hope all of you have a fantastic winter, and start thinking about your winter next in the summer. And and I think your winter will go a lot better. And you guys go out there, keep crushing it, keep your heads up.
Thank you, brother. You have a good day.
Take care, guys.
See you, man.
Bye for now.